Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Small Data with T, where we are passionate about the power of small data in healthcare. I am your host, Tanazia Gonzalez, but you can call me T. Data has certainly changed the game in healthcare. Big data has blown the roof off, but small data, now that's the future. Small data allows us to dive deep into the key insights and take quick, customized action to achieve phenomenal results in performance and quality improvement. Let's explore this today. Thanks so much for joining us. If you have any questions for me or any of my guests, feel free to reach out to me at tgonzalez@eima-inc.com. Enjoy the show. Let's go. In Season 4, our topic is healthcare data analytics as a career. I spoke with some folks who are new to the field or thinking about joining in. I also spoke with some seasoned professionals and learned from their insights and suggestions for those who are beginners. I hope you find these conversations as enjoyable and informative as I did. More importantly, I hope they help you in your journey. Tina Lowry is a seasoned healthcare IT professional with 20 plus years of experience and expertise in data analytics. After experiencing a life-changing event, Tina decided to lean into her passions and transition out of the corporate world. Today, she teaches data analytics and guides others through the field while exploring innovative data visualization techniques. Tina's career is marked by a dedication to making complex data accessible and understandable. During this talk, she offers invaluable advice for individuals seeking to pursue and/or further develop a career in healthcare data analytics. She serves as a key mentor for many, including me. And I hope you enjoyed this conversation. More importantly, I hope it helps you in your journey. Thank you so much for finally coming on the show. It's been quite some time and trying to get you on here and like pinging you for what, the last
It's been a while.
10 years? Yeah, something like
It's been
that.
a while. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, but
Yeah.
thanks again for coming on. And I've been pinging you for, over those years to just pick your brain on like, where do I go? What's the best thing to research and get up on, to get up to speed, to, improve myself professionally. And I appreciate that you're always so accommodating and responsive and really want to be able to share that with some of these other early careerists looking to get into data analytics
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's the nature of being in training and education. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so with that, why don't you just say a couple of words to kind of introduce yourself, whatever you're comfortable with sharing. Just give
Okay.
people
All
a
right.
quick taste of,
Yeah.
where you are, how long you've been in the field, what exactly do you do?
Okay. So I have worked in healthcare uh for over 20 years now.
Hmm.
Specifically healthcare IT. I had focused on that portion of healthcare. Started working with IBM,
Okay.
working on a help desk while I was in grad school, working on a master's. Great combination.
Hmm.
And then I went on to begin my doctorate in biomedical informatics.
Ooh,
Uh, so,
intimidating.
uh, and that's really where I got my interest working at IBM, working on the
Okay.
doctorate. I got my interest in working in data.
Nice,
Um,
nice.
and um, and so yeah, so that's just been sort of, my background. I actually have my bachelor's degree is in French. Um,
Really?
yeah, yeah, my
Excuse me.
bachelor's
Vraiment?
degree.
Vraiment?
Vraiment, vraiment.
Wow. Very nice. I never knew that.
Yeah.
I actually took AP French in high school. Didn't do well, but I
Oh wow.
didn't know
Well,
I had
yeah.
someone I could practice with. So that's
Oh yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
good.
Now I didn't say I speak it well. I can read it. I definitely can read it. So I try to read as much as I can.
So
So
would you say like this data analytics is something in healthcare, is something you're passionate about? And that's kind of what's driving you? Would you say that?
I was passionate about it.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I was passionate about it.
Okay.
What uh the pandemic, I will say honestly, broke me. we wasn't ready data wise, in a sense of
Mm-hmm.
I guess the getting the understanding and the handle on how to handle something of that magnitude. And so it's a lot of things in play. But I ended up getting laid off in
Mm-hmm.
2020,
Mm-hmm.
and for a minute I was upset. And I will tell you, it was literally 10 minutes I was upset. Um, because then I sat down and I looked at a few things and I
Mm-hmm.
realized, you know, this might be a nice time to take a break. Um,
Things
you
happen for a
know,
reason, so
everything happens for a reason.
yeah.
And I will tell you, I haven't really looked back since.
Okay.
And what I decided after taking that break
Mm-hmm.
and just doing a reset
Mm-hmm.
personally, um, and personally, meaning mentally, emotionally, just reassessing life.
Gotcha.
I
Totally.
realized that I could serve people better
Mm-hmm.
by sharing my knowledge with them. And
Okay.
um, and so that's how I started interviewing to teach.
Beautiful.
I had already taught at NYU in
Okay.
data analytics, so a little bit more background there. And uh, and so that gave me,
Mm-hmm.
a little confidence in the education space.
Mm-hmm.
And also taught at other boot camps as well, data boot camps.
So you're
So yeah.
teaching now, like where exactly are you teaching today?
So I'm teaching at Full Stack Academy, which is a boot camp based here in New York.
Mm-hmm.
It's been around for a while. It's like one of the first tech boot camps that actually
Mm-hmm.
started way back when. They
Nice.
started with web development
Mm-hmm.
and then moved on they're in the cybersecurity. I was one of the first instructors for their data
Mm-hmm.
analytics program, and now they're expanding more into data science and AI. So
Beautiful.
it's really, yeah. So, and competition is fierce. Okay, begin with competition all over the city, all over the country.
Okay.
But yeah, but I've enjoyed it. It's been really fulfilling for me, I would say.
Nice. And I think
Yeah,
that competition is really compounded by the fact that we live in a remote world, right? A virtual world, right?
yeah,
Because you
yeah.
can tap resources. All, for instance, I work with folks who are living in Brazil right now
Mm-hmm.
on a daily basis. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so interesting. I
Yeah,
think you
yeah.
already started diving into one of my questions, which was what were some of the biggest challenges you've encountered, and how did you overcome them? And you talked about being laid off, but then you started going into COVID, um, particularly during the pandemic. What jumps out as at you as like a key challenge that you faced in
Mm-hmm.
terms of trying to work with the data and really do some positive things there?
So yeah, COVID was the biggest challenge, I think. It was, at the end of the day, it comes down to systems. Now
Mhm,
having the right system to not only collect the data, but to
mhm,
extract it and do the
mhm,
necessary work um, to report out that information.
mhm,
So that was the biggest challenge for me and my team. So kind of going back a little bit, like I said, I kind of dive into I dove into my educational background a little bit, but I didn't really talk about what I did. My
mhm,
last role, I was a director of a data analytics team
mhm,
and small team working at an HIE here in New York. And I started out, I've worked at a few hospitals across New York and
mhm,
as well as doing research. Um,
mm,
and that's how I got involved with this organization. I was doing research there. So it was a great experience. I will never deny that.
mhm,
But at the same time, they're and it's not just that organization, it's everywhere. It's
mhm,
actually everywhere. It's just
mhm,
making sure that you have the right systems in place,
mhm,
um for people to, or for your team to get the information that needs to happen,
mm,
or that's needed to make action or take
mm.
action. And so that was, that was probably one of the biggest things, is making sure that this infrastructure was organized in a way that we could easily get to it
Hmm.
in a very quick space. So that was probably one of the biggest challenges that I had of my
Hmm.
career. And that kind of made me decide, yeah, I think I'm done. Um, you know, because and I'm not saying it, um, I'm saying that really because of me
Hmm.
and what I really want to do in my
Hmm.
life. Working through that data,
Yeah.
getting the reporting, trying to
Hmm.
gather the insights.
Hmm.
Yeah, everyone that I worked with was great. But you know, you
Right.
were trying to manage a beast of
I
information. So
You have
yeah.
the systems, you also have the people who are managing the
Right,
systems, right? So
right,
it's
right,
a delicate balance.
right,
But
right.
to your point, as you know, you were already planning, I'm a big believer in divine timing. And
Absolutely.
I have this sign right behind me that says, trust the timing of your life. Um, and I have to look at that every day and go, oh, okay, get over yourself. Step back. It's
And breathe.
and breathe. It's gonna happen when it's supposed to
Mm-hmm.
happen. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, I wanted to dedicate this season to folks who are early careerists, really considering this field as a possible potential career focused, or folks that are seasoned in other fields that maybe are looking here and saying, might be good to start investigating and starting something new here. So I appreciate you sharing your experiences, because as even though there were challenges, and it really made you who you are today, and look
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
you are today, and
Yes.
what
Thank
you
you.
have to offer,
Thank
and
you. Yep.
I'm really want to squeeze this golden lemon, or whatever you want to call it, and really share you with the listeners, and um, really learn and leverage your lessons. And thank you so much for sharing again.
Yep, thank you.
Um, so I say, what are some key milestones or achievements you've had in your career that you're most proud of, thinking back?
Um, wow, that's a really, I guess, of course, the education in and of itself is
Hmm.
huge. Um, Probably, I think maybe one of the first in my family to get my graduate degree.
Wow.
I
Congrats.
think, big family. So, well, at least on one side. But I come from, one side of my family, I come from musicians. The other side, they're more of the math, healthcare type.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, so getting my graduate degree,
Hmm.
going as far as I did,
Hmm.
for me personally, it was great. I was just trying to set examples for siblings. So my
Yes.
siblings are so much younger than I am. So yeah, so that's one. And then just uh as far as the career, being able to be flexible and explore the different areas of healthcare and healthcare IT.
Hmm.
So having you know, uh, really good leadership
Hmm.
um, and guidance there. Um, but I guess the biggest one is when I did the research, when I started working in research with Mount Sinai. So I did like
Okay.
two stints there. The first one was working in research IT, and
Okay.
where we actually worked with the investigators and helping them
Yeah.
prep for their proposals to be
Nice.
submitted, building out systems and
Mhm.
databases around their research projects. So that was great. And then the second stint that I did was actually being a part of the research team and
Mm.
working with the data
Mhm.
and doing the analysis and everything. And so, shout out to Jason on that. So yeah, but it was great. It was, those were like some of the highlights. The and then of course being able to lead a team and
Okay.
build out a data team
Yeah.
was also really, really great achievement for me
Nice,
personally.
nice.
And and just having an impact on the organization in a way to help them to
Mhm.
streamline their workflow processes was great. Yeah.
Definitely, and then also being in that role, you become a mentor, right? You just
Yes,
currently become the
absolutely.
mentor for the team and really leading the folks, you know, in a good direction.
Yeah, yeah. That one I definitely want to double down on that one because um it wasn't just my team. It was a lot of um
Mhm.
young employees, young staff members would always they were always in my office. And and it was great. And I was just like, oh, maybe there's something
Yeah,
I need to do something else with this. And I'm still,
right.
I'm working, I still have some of them contacting me. My students, so yeah, so,
Right.
it's kind of morphing into a coaching business, in
Uh-huh.
in a lot of ways. So,
Okay.
I'm slowly kind of taking
Yeah.
that next step. But
Mhm.
yeah, you're right. It's the
Nice.
mentoring too. Yep.
I know, I remember I used to ping you all the time and then try to find you on LinkedIn once we left, our, mutual, organization there, like, "Tina, I've been thinking about doing XYZ, what do you think?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What should I
Yep.
do?" And then you're like, "Oh, okay, here we go, XYZ." I'm like,
Yep.
"Okay, I'm gonna try that."
Yep.
But all right, so let's see. Um, yeah, so definitely, with that in mind, what specific skills or tools should individuals focus on developing to succeed in this field, do you think? Like, where
Mm.
should someone considering this start?
I was like, there's so many things, but it's really fundamentally, you have to know how to ask questions.
Mhm.
Um, you have to know how to ask questions of the data. You have to know, in all honesty, need to know how to ask questions in Google. I'm gonna
Yeah.
tell you, because if you don't even know how to do a proper search, you're not going to be able to get
Right.
to solve the problem. So prompting is actually coming into play, especially with AI.
Oh, yeah.
But knowing how to ask the questions about data, if you're good at word problems,
Mhm.
doing math word problems, you're going to be okay with healthcare data.
Okay.
If you have an aversion to math word problems, you might need to reconsider that.
Mm,
Because that's the key, because you're going to get a
interesting.
problem and you're going to have to figure out how to
Right.
answer the question with the math behind it, and
Right.
B, then get into the technical aspect. What tool do I use? So the tools,
Yeah.
I recommend, you definitely have to be pretty well versed in Excel. You
Oh,
don't
yeah.
have to be a guru.
Mhm.
Um, you still have a lot of organizations out there that just
Mhm.
love Excel.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
at a minimum, you gotta be able to put a sheet together and do a quick pivot table. Very simple, right?
Very simple. And
Right.
that's the first thing that I teach students
Mhm.
when they come into
Mhm.
full stack. Our first day, our exercise is to create a pivot table. And so many people are like, "Oh my God, that's so hard."
Okay.
It's a 15-minute exercise.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
agree with
exactly.
you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, so definitely learning how to work with data in Excel. Now,
Mhm.
I have to give Microsoft credit of, they are trying to keep Excel, relevant.
Yeah.
And so now you can now do Python in Excel.
Nice.
You can do so many things with
Mhm.
Excel. You can build a dashboard in Excel. I'm teaching the students
Yeah.
how to build dashboards
Yes.
within Excel. So it's a lot of things that are happening with Excel right now. Just
Mhm.
fundamentally, that's like, if you've never done anything around data,
Mhm.
that's the first place to go. Just
Yeah.
just start there. And here's the easiest exercise to do: your
What's
budget. Do your budget.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, do your budget. If you can do your budget in Excel and start incorporating some formulas and
Mhm.
start, and creating that pivot table. Well,
Mhm.
I owe this month for June or July. Like, that is like one of the easiest way to learn Excel is just do your budget, do
Right.
your monthly budget there.
And when you do
So
that, the monthly wrap up and you go, "I spent how much in restaurants?" Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And then, of course, and with doing that, you download
Mhm.
your financial data, your checking account data, credit card data,
Yep.
whatever it is, you download that data and open it up in Excel and then go to work. So
Slice and
that's one
dice.
of the easy, yeah,
Mhm.
that's one of the easiest ways to learn how to
Yeah.
work with it because you know the data, you can ask yourself questions.
Yes.
Why? All right. So you
Yeah.
start now questioning, what the heck am I doing?
Mhm.
Right. So yeah, so that's
Get
that's
that
kind of like
descriptive aspect out of it, right? And then the
absolutely,
diagnostic. Mhm.
absolutely, absolutely. So start there. Then
Mhm.
the next thing would be definitely learning SQL.
Mm.
Learning SQL
Mhm.
or SQL, as we say, is fundamental. And I will tell you that was the one thing that changed the game for me.
Mm.
Because when my first stint at Sinai, I started working with um uh a lot of the programming team,
Mhm.
development team, and I worked with one DBA, and I spoke to her a few months ago, and I was like, you have no idea the impact you had on me. And just learning what she knew, she was fantastic. She helped build the data warehouse at
Nice.
Sinai.
Nice.
And so working with her,
Mhm.
I decided to go and work on an Oracle certification
Okay. Okay.
at NYU. And so that's how I started writing SQL and working with databases. And that's actually how I got the job doing research,
Mhm.
because I knew how to work and write SQL queries and extract the
Nice.
data out of the system. And
Nice.
so SQL is like,
Mhm.
if you can write SQL queries,
Mhm.
you're halfway through the game in working with data. I especially healthcare data. That's one of the things
Yeah.
a lot of people don't really do too well with. And I'm kind
Mhm.
of surprised actually how people don't really do well with SQL when it comes to data analytics,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's Excel and SQL is like your fundamental skills when it comes to
Yeah.
data. The next one would be definitely working with a BI tool such as
Mm.
Tableau,
Oh yes.
Power BI,
Yeah.
Looker. I haven't played around with Looker. I've been playing around with Power BI. And I
Mm.
teach Tableau. I teach
Okay.
students how to use Tableau.
Okay.
So, so we work with that.
Mhm.
And then I also go through, some aspects of cloud computing with AWS.
Mhm. Okay.
And of course, Python and R. R is not in the curriculum at Full Stack, but if we have
Okay.
time, I do introduce students to R. So these are kind of like the sort of the fundamental things
Right.
that they need to know. And of course, the statistics and being able to do stats, understanding your basic, descriptive stats. And
Yeah.
then, of course, you're going to go into some of the inferential, doing regression and things
Mhm.
like that.
Okay.
Most organizations probably won't even get that far in the predictive, but
Yeah.
it's definitely something to learn.
Nice. Thank you for that. In terms of like, I know like uh, where you could go to learn SQL, where you can go to learn Python, R, and stuff like that. I believe R is there's some free courses and stuff like on the internet, right?
Yeah.
You can
So
learn.
yeah,
Um,
there's a lot more out there. So when I got started,
mhm,
um, and I'll tell you exactly what I did. When I started doing research, I was
mhm.
doing SAS. So I was
Okay.
doing all of the
Mhm,
analysis in SAS
mhm,
and working with SQL Server.
mhm,
But I wanted to learn Python and I wanted to learn R,
mhm.
and I started looking around for, like you said, free tools.
Yeah.
Codecademy was how I learned Python. And
Code.
so
How was
code
it? Code
code
Academy.
cat Code Academy is how I
Code
learned
Academy.
Python.
Nice.
And
Okay.
so what I did was whatever problem that I had in SAS,
Mhm.
I used that problem. And again, shout out to Jason. Jason was coming to me with all kind of problems. Dr.
Oh,
Shapiro.
Dr. Shapiro.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, Dr.
Okay.
Shapiro. So he was he was an emergency physician. So I worked in the emergency department doing research there.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm slowly giving my background as I go through this. But anyway, so yeah, so working in SAS, I took whatever problems that I had, whatever problems, was
Hmm.
that came up in research, I would solve it in SAS, but
Hmm.
then I would use whatever I learned in Python
Hmm.
to solve it there. And to me, and that's what I teach the students now, is like, if you get a problem, you need to solve it, try to solve it in every tool. That's going to make you well versed in that tool. So when you get a problem,
Hmm.
you'll know, oh, which tool is going to be best for this.
Right.
And
And you
you'll be able to
know
get to it
what to
quickly.
leverage. Yeah. Very
Yeah.
nice. Very cool.
Yeah. So Codecademy was one. Udemy is a big one for me as
Hmm.
well. Just because, um, is on demand,
Hmm.
and I can pace through it. Where else? What else did I do? I mean, I've read a lot of books, a lot of books.
Yeah.
I'm a book junkie.
Yes. Me
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah. I buy, yeah, some people do other things. I buy books. So, but what else? And Khan Academy actually was is really good. I've been
Mhm.
going back and looking at Khan Academy, especially with the statistics, looking at, because I do try to,
Mhm.
other tools to help the students that I'm
Uh-huh.
working with, and
Okay.
I send them there as well. So those
Nice.
are a few sites. I know some people use Coursera,
Yeah.
Udacity.
Mhm.
Coursera, I tend to sign up for the classes and never complete them.
Mhm.
So, so I kind of abandoned that.
Okay.
But I like Code Academy because you can literally, like, work alongside the problems. So
Okay.
it's like live teaching. Well,
Oh, nice.
not live teaching, live programming
Mhm.
in a lot of
Mhm.
ways. So I really like working with Code Academy. So I do refer a lot of students there if they're having
Okay.
trouble understanding what we're going through in class.
Right.
It'll take them step by step.
And for the listeners, don't worry about trying to jot all this down. I will put the links to
Oh
all
yeah.
these sites in the description for the talk, so no worries. But thanks, Tina, for
Yeah,
like enlightening us on all of these different, resources. And when I've gone to do like my SQL training, I've gone to courses, I've gone to several courses, gotten certificates, but the problem is when you come back home and you don't really have the opportunity to practice it and put it into practice, your skills just go out the window. Um,
absolutely.
so it's nice when you're able to come back home to the ranch, so to speak, and be able to apply what you've learned somewhere.
Yeah, yeah,
Or if you can create like a dummy data set or have access to a dummy data set in an application, and
yeah,
really just,
yeah,
hands on as soon as you learn, that's ideal. That's what I've.
absolutely.
How do you stay up to date on the latest developments in the field, and what resources do you recommend for continuous learning for folks?
That's a really good one. I stay up to date. I'm a little of a news junkie.
Okay,
So I use this app called Flipboard, and you can
cool.
customize the information that you get in that.
Okay.
So I have where, I'm looking at, you know, data science or data visualization, anything with data in it.
Mhm.
I'm using Google Alerts. I use LinkedIn
Okay.
because a lot of amazing people post things on LinkedIn. So my
Mhm.
network, I have a nice data network there. And I get a lot of information from there. I'm not a Facebook person. Instagram, I do, but yeah, I'm probably on Facebook once, twice a year. If it's an emergency, like I go on Facebook to announce emergencies. That's
Oh,
basically
oh boy.
it. So yeah, like hurricane,
Yeah.
earthquake, you know,
Hey, people, sky is falling. Good luck.
right,
Yeah.
pandemic, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So yeah, but yeah, I look at Instagram,
Uh-huh.
as some things. But conferences, I mean,
Yeah.
that's how we reconnected, just going to
Yes.
conferences. I'm a member of the Data Visualization Society, so
Okay.
I'm also on their Slack channel, so I get a lot of information
Mhm.
from there. Um, what's another organization? Women in Data.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That was in my
Yeah,
head just now
yeah,
when you said it. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Women in
Yeah.
Data is a big one with me as well.
Yeah.
So, Black Tech,
Okay.
yeah, so as far as conferences and things
Mhm.
like that. Um,
Nice. Nice.
but yeah, I'm in everything. And of course, like we talked about this before, my little side thing now is
Mhm.
you know, uh stock trading. And
Okay.
so combining stock trades with um
Intimidating.
with data with data, I mean, that's essentially where I am right now. So,
Yeah.
so I'm learning from, quant traders and things like that. So
Nice.
yes, I'm definitely transitioning from healthcare
Nice.
and
Nice.
and learning different back testing strategies.
Yeah.
And so with that, that's kind of where I get a lot of my info from.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're coming down towards the end of the time, and I definitely want to be respectful of your time. I know you're a busy woman doing a lot of stuff, and really appreciate you spending this time with me and us and the listeners. And after this chat, some folks may want to get in touch with you. Are you okay with that? If yes,
Absolutely,
what's the best way
absolutely.
to reach out to you? What's the best?
Definitely, yeah, definitely, look me up on LinkedIn. So
Okay.
just search for Tina L.
Okay.
And I'm there.
All right.
And then I, I do a blog that's kind of, I won't say
Oh,
dead, but I'm not posting as much because,
okay.
so like I'm doing a lot of things. So
Uh-huh.
another thing that I had done along my travels in healthcare and healthcare IT was I did a certificate in graphic design. So I did, a lot of some of the designs and some of the publications
Yeah.
that we did for
Okay.
our research projects. So I did some of the designs in that. So it became useful. But anyway, so in my little blog, it's my name, tinalari
Okay.
.com. And my email address is on there. So Tina@virtualdataviz. So I'm trying to
All right.
trying to do like data visualization
Yeah.
in 3D and VR
Oh,
and AR kind of thing. So
love it. Love it. Love it.
yeah,
All right. Well, Tina, thank you so much for joining me. And
sure.
I'm gonna let you go on and take over the world with your data
Uh,
and analytics IT skills. And thank you so much for joining us to, you know, share your experience and your thoughts and advice.
thank you so much for having me. I'm glad we got to catch up and everything. But yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Sorry for the delay in joining this, but I'm glad
that's
I'm glad
okay.
to have done
Glad to
it.
have you. Thank you.